Okay, we are continuing with chapter 5 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, book 5, The Last Olympian by Riordan. The chapter 5 is called I Drive My Dog into a Tree. Mrs. O'Leary saw me before I saw her, which was pretty good trick considering she was the size of a garbage truck. I walked into the arena and a wall of darkness slammed into me. Woof! The next thing I knew, I was flat on the ground with a huge paw on my chest and an oversized Brillo pad licking my face. Ow! I said, "Hey, girl, it's good to see you too." Ow! It took a few minutes for Mrs. O'Leary to calm down and get off me. By then, I was pretty much drenched in dog drool. She wanted to play fetch, so I picked up the bronze shield and tossed it across the arena. By the way, Mrs. O'Leary is the world's only friendly hellhound. I kind of inherited her from when her previous owner died. She lived at camp, but Beckendorf used to take care of her whenever I was gone. He had smelted Mrs. O'Leary's favorite bronze chew bone. He forged her collar with a little smiley face and Crossbones name tag. And next to me, Beckendorf had been her best friend. Thinking about that made me sad all over again. But I knew the shield. Uh, I threw the shield a few more times because Mrs. O'Leary insisted. Soon, she started barking, a sound slightly louder than an artillery gun, like she needed to go for a walk. The other campers didn't think it was funny when she went to the bathroom in the arena. It had caused more than one unfortunate slip and slide accident. So I opened the gates of the arena and she bounded straight toward the woods. I jogged after her, not too concerned that she was getting ahead. Nothing in the woods could threaten Mrs. O'Leary. Even the dragons and giant scorpions ran away when she came close. When I finally tracked her down, she wasn't using the facilities. She was in a familiar clearing where the Council of Cloven Elders had once put Grover on trial. The place didn't look so good. The grass had turned yellow, the tree topiary thrones had lost all their leaves, but that's not what surprised me. In the middle of the glade stood the weirdest trio I'd ever seen. Juniper, the tree nymph, Nico D'Angelo, and a very old, very fat satyr. Nico was the only one who didn't seem freaked out by Mrs. O'Leary's appearance. He looked pretty much like I'd seen him in my dream. An aviator's jacket, black jeans, and a t-shirt with dancing skeletons on it, like one of those Day of the Dead pictures. His Sagian iron sword hung at his side. He was only 12, but he looked much older and sadder. He nodded at when he saw me, then went back to scratching Mrs. O'Leary's ears. She sniffed his legs like he'd been the most interesting thing since ribeye steaks. Being the son of Hades, he probably had been traveling in all sorts of hellhound friendly places. The old satyr didn't look nearly so happy. Will someone, what is this underworld creature doing in my forest? He waved his arms and trotted on his hooves as if the grass were hot. You there, Percy Jackson, is this your beast? Sorry, Linus, I said. That's your name, right? The satyr rolled his eyes. His fur was dust bunny gray, and a spider web grew between his horns. His belly would have made him an invincible bumper car. Well, of course I'm Linus. Don't tell me you've forgotten a member of the council so quickly. Now, call off your beast. Woof, Mrs. O'Leary said happily. The old satyr gulped. Make it go away, Juniper. I will not help you under these circumstances. Juniper turned toward me. She was pretty in a dyady way, with her purple gossamer dress and her elfish face, but her eyes were green tinted with chlorophyll from crying. Percy, she sniffed. I was just asking about Grover. I know something's happened. He wouldn't stay gone this long if he wasn't in trouble. And I was hoping that Linus. I told you, the satyr protested. You you're better off without that traitor. Juniper stamped her foot. He is not a traitor. He is the bravest satyr ever, and I want to know where he is. Woof. Linus's knees started knocking. I won't answer questions with this hellhound sniffing my tail. Nico looked like he was trying not to crack up. I'll walk the dog, he volunteered. He whistled and Mrs. O'Leary bounded after him to the far end of the grove. Linus huffed indignantly and brushed the twigs off his shirt. Now, as I was trying to explain, young lady, your boyfriend has not sent any reports since we voted him into exile. You tried to vote him into exile, I corrected. Chiron and Dionysus stopped you. Bah, they're honorary council members. It wasn't a proper vote. I'll tell Dionysus you said that. Linus paled. I only meant, now see here, Jackson, this is none of your business. Grover's my friend, I said. He wasn't lying to you about Pan's death. I saw it myself. You were just too scared to accept the truth. Linus's lips quivered. No, Grover's a liar and good riddance. We're better off without him. I pointed at the withered thrones. If you think things are going so well, where are your friends? Looks like your council hasn't been meeting lately. Maron and Selenus, I'm sure they'll be back, but I could hear the panic in his voice. They're just taking some time off to think. It's been very unsettling year. It's going to be a lot more unsettling, I promise. Linus, we need Grover. He's there's got to be a way you can find him with your magic. The old satyr's eye twitched. I'm telling you, I heard nothing. Perhaps he's dead. Juniper choked back a sob. He's not dead, I said. I can feel that much. Empathy links, Zelenus said disdainfully. Very unreliable. So ask around, I insisted. Find him. There's a war coming. Grover was preparing the nature spirits. Without my permission? And it's not our war. I grabbed him by the shirt, which seriously wasn't like me, but the stupid old goat was making me mad. Listen, Linus, when Kronos attacks, he's going to have packs of hellhounds. He's going to destroy everything in his path. Mortals, gods, demigods. You think he'll let the satyrs go free? You're supposed to be a leader, so lead. Get there and go see get out there and see what's happening. Find Grover and bring Juniper some news. Now go. I didn't push him very hard, but he was kind of top heavy. He fell on his furry rump, then scrambled to his hooves and ran away with his belly jiggling. Grover will never be accepted. He will die an outcast. When he disappeared into the bushes, Juniper wiped her eyes. I'm sorry, Percy. I didn't mean to get you involved. Linus is still a lord of the wild. You don't want to make an enemy of him. No problem, I said. I've got worse enemies than overweight satyrs. Nico walked back to us. Good job, Percy. Judging from the trail of goat pellets, I'd say you shook him up pretty well. I was afraid I knew why Nico was here, but I tried for a smile. Welcome back. Did you just come to see Juniper? He blushed. No, that was an accident. I kind of dropped into the middle of their conversation. He scared us to death, Juniper said, right out of the shadows. But Nico, you are the son of Hades and all. Are you sure you haven't heard anything about Grover? Nico shifted his weight. Juniper, like I tried to tell you, even if Grover died, he would reincarnate into something else in nature. I can't sense things like that, only mortal souls. But if you do hear anything, she pleaded, putting her hand on his arm, anything at all. Nico's cheeks got even brighter red. You bet. I'll keep my ears open. We'll find him, Juniper, I promise. Grover's alive, I'm sure. There must be a simple reason why he hasn't contacted us. She nodded glumly. I hate not being able to leave the forest. He could be anywhere, and I'm stuck here waiting. Oh, that silly goat has gotten himself hurt. Mrs. O'Leary bounded back over and took an interest in Juniper's dress. Juniper yelped, "Oh, no, you don't. I know about dogs and trees. I'm gone." She went poof into a green mist, and Mrs. O'Leary looked disappointed, but she lumbered off to find another target, leaving Nico and me alone. Nico tapped his sword on the ground. A tiny mound of small animal bones erupted from the dirt. They knit themselves together into a skeletal field mouse and scampered off. I was sorry to hear about Beckendorf. A lump formed in my throat. How did you? I talked to his ghost. Oh, right. I never get used to the fact that this 12-year-old kid spent more time talking with the dead than the living. Did he say anything? He doesn't blame you. He figured you'd be beating yourself up. He said you shouldn't. Is he going to try for rebirth? Nico shook his head. He's staying in Elysium. He's said he's waiting for someone. Not sure what he meant, but he seems okay with death. It wasn't much comfort, but it was something. I had a vision. You were on Mount Tam, I told Nico. Was that real? He said. I didn't mean to spy on the Titans, but I was in the neighborhood. Doing what? Nico tugged at his sword on his belt, following a lead. You know, my family? I nodded. I knew his past was a painful subject. Until 2 years ago, he and his sister Bianca had been frozen in time at a place called the Lotus Hotel and Casino. They'd been there for like 70 years. Eventually, a mysterious lawyer rescued them and checked them into a boarding school. But Nico had no memories of his life before the casino. He didn't know anything about his mother. He didn't know who the lawyer was or why they'd been frozen in time or allowed to go free. After Bianca died and left Nico alone, he had been obsessed with finding answers. How'd it go? I asked. Any luck? No, I murmured. But I may have a new lead soon. What's the lead? Nico chewed his lips. That's not important right now. You know why I'm here. I've a feeling of dread started to build in my chest. Ever since Nico first proposed his plan for beating Kronos last summer, I had nightmares about it. He would show up occasionally and press me for answers, but I kept putting him off. Nico, I don't know, I said. It seems pretty extreme. You've got Typhoon coming in. What, a week? Most of the other Titans are unleashed now and on Kronos' side. Maybe it's time to think extreme. I looked back toward the camp. Even from this distance, I could hear the Ares and Apollo campers fighting again, yelling curses and spouting bad poetry. They're no match for the Titan army, Nico said, and you know that. This comes down to you and Luke, and there's only one way you can beat Luke. I remember the fight on the Princess Andromeda. I'd been hopelessly outmatched. Kronos had almost killed me with a single cut to my arm, and I couldn't even wound him. Riptide had glanced right off his skin. We can't give you the same we can give you the same power, Nico urged. You heard the great prophecy. Unless you want to leave your soul reaped by a cursed blade, or have your soul reaped by a cursed blade. I wondered how Nico had heard the prophecy, probably from some ghost. You can't prevent a prophecy, I said, but you can fight it. Nico had a strange, hungry light in his eyes. You can become invincible. Maybe we should wait. Try to fight out. No, Nico snarled. It has to be now. I stared at him. I hadn't seen his temper flare like that in a long time. You sure you're okay? He took a deep breath. Percy, all I mean, when the fighting starts, we won't be able to make the journey. This is our last chance. I'm sorry if I'm being too pushy. 2 years ago, my sister gave her life to protect you. I want to honor that. Do whatever it takes to stay alive and defeat Kronos. I didn't like the idea. Then I thought about Annabeth calling me a coward and I got angry. Nico had a point. If Kronos attacked New York, the campers would be no match for his forces. I had to do something. Nico's way was dangerous, maybe even deadly, but it might give me a fighting chance. All right, I decided. What do we do first? His cold, creepy smile made me sorry. I agreed. First, we'll need to retrace Luke's steps. We need to know more about his past, his childhood. I shuddered, thinking about Rachel's picture from my dream. A smiling 9-year-old Luke? Why do we need to know that? I'll explain when we get there, Nico said. I've already tracked down his mother. She lives in Connecticut. I stared at him. I never thought about Luke's mortal parent. I'd met his dad, Hermes, but his mom? Luke ran away when he was really young, I said. I didn't think his mom was alive. Oh, she's alive. The way he said it made me wonder what was wrong with her. What kind of horrible person could she be? Okay, I said. So, how do we get to Connecticut? I can call Blackjack. No, Nico scowled. Pegasi don't like me, and the feeling is mutual. But there's no need for flying. He whistled, and Mrs. O'Leary came lopping out of the woods. Your friend here can help. Nico patted her head. You haven't tried shadow travel yet? Shadow travel? Nico whispered in Miss O'Leary's ear. She tilted her head, suddenly alert. Hop on board, Nico told me. I never considered riding a dog before, but Miss O'Leary was certainly big enough. I climbed onto her back and held her collar. This will make her very tired, Nico warned. So you can't do it often. And it works best at night, but all shadows are part of the same substance. There is only one darkness, and creatures of the underworld can use it as a road or a door. I don't understand, I said. No, Nico said. Took me a long time to learn, but Miss O'Leary knows. Tell her where you want to go. Tell her Westport, the home of May Castellan. You're not coming? Don't worry, he said. I'll meet you there. I was a little nervous, but I leaned down to Mrs. O'Leary's ear. Okay, girl. Um, can you take me to Westport, Connecticut? May Castellan's place. Mrs. O'Leary sniffed the air. She looked into the gloom of the forest. Then she bound forward straight into an oak tree. And just before we hit, we passed into shadows as cold as the dark side of the moon.